So, picture this, you're walking down the street, minding your own business, when bam. You spot a coin lying on the ground. It's just a penny, right? But wait, what if that penny could make you some serious cash? Pauses dramatically. Today, we're diving into the world of one specific penny that's been turning heads and making people double-check their wallets, the 2009 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick around because, trust me, you won't want to miss the surprise value of this little copper nugget. Alright, so let's break this down. You probably already know that pennies are, well, pennies. We toss them in jars, leave them on the sidewalk, and pretend they don't exist when we're paying for our coffee. Shrugs, but some pennies, just like some people, are special. And the 2009 no-mint Mark penny? It's one of those overachievers that's looking to make a name for itself in the coin world. Host picks up a 2009 penny and holds it up to the camera. Well, it all starts with the mint mark. Every year, the US Mint stamps a little mark on the coin, telling you where it was made. In 2009, pennies were being minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and West Point, but if your penny doesn't have a mint mark, you're in for a treat. Here's where things get interesting. The 2009 no-mint mark penny is super rare because, well, not a lot of them were made without that mint mark. Normally, pennies made in Philly get a little P on them, and Denver pennies have a D. But in 2009, a bunch of pennies left the mint without any mint mark at all. And as luck would have it, these unmarked pennies are more sought after than you'd think, so, here's the question, what's this little guy worth? Well, drumroll please, the 2009 no-mint mark penny is worth about $1.90 in today's market. And yes, you heard that right. A penny that was once worth 1 cent is now worth nearly $2. Laughs, isn't that wild? I mean, you could grab a handful of those, start a coin collection, and potentially make a pretty penny. Smirks, host holds up a few other pennies and dramatically compares them with the 2009 no-mint mark penny. And the answer is, yep, people do. Coin collectors love this stuff. The rarity of the 2009 no-mint mark penny makes it a sought-after item, and there are folks out there who are willing to pay a premium for it. So, funny story. I remember the first time I found one of these bad boys. I was going through some old coins my grandmother had kept for years. I was just looking for some quarters to use for laundry, and out of nowhere, I saw this 2009 penny, no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. I thought, is this real? Could it be worth something? I googled it, and sure enough, bing bing bing, I found out that my little penny could be worth way more than I expected. Talk about a surprise. So, I threw it into my coin jar and started doing more research about these hidden gems. So now, when I spot a penny lying around, I don't just ignore it. I pick it up, give it a quick glance, and ask myself, is this a hidden treasure? I can't tell you how many times I've found coins that aren't just pennies, but potential gold mines. Alright, folks, before you run off to check your own penny collection, let me leave you with this. If you happen to find a 2009 penny without a mint mark, it's time to get excited. But even if you don't give up on those coins just yet. There are tons of other pennies out there worth way more than face value. And trust me, I've got some awesome tips on how to spot valuable coins, which I'll be sharing in future videos. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the coin crew. We've got a treasure trove of tips, tricks, and coin discoveries to keep you on the lookout for rare finds. Who knows, maybe the next time you find a penny, it'll be the one that makes you a small fortune. And hey, if you have any cool coin stories or actual treasure finds, drop them in the comments below, I want to hear all about it. We're all in this together, folks. Until next time, happy hunting, and remember, sometimes the smallest things can be worth the most. Hey there, coin lovers. Are you sitting on a small fortune right now without even knowing it? Yup, I'm talking about your pocket change. You've probably got a 1967 Lincoln penny sitting in a drawer, or maybe you've got one stuck between your couch cushions. It might seem like just another copper coin, but let me tell you, that little penny might be worth more than you think. I'm gonna break down the mystery behind the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, tell you why it's special, and how it could put a few extra bucks in your pocket. Spoiler alert, the market value for this little guy is hovering around $1.10 right now. Sounds crazy, right? Stick around, and I'll show you exactly what makes this coin so valuable and how you can cash in on it. Alright, let's dive into it. First off, let's talk about the basics of the 1967 penny. You're probably thinking, why 1967? That was forever ago. Yeah, it feels like ancient history. But the 1967 penny stands out because, well, it doesn't have a mint mark. That's right, no D or S stamped on the back like most pennies from that time. This missing mint mark is what really gives this coin its value. But here's the kicker, it wasn't supposed to happen. It was a mistake. So, before we go any further, let's give a shout out to the US Mint for making this happy little accident. Now, here's the thing. Most pennies have a mint mark on them, which indicates where they were produced. The D mint mark stands for Denver, and S means San Francisco. But the 1967 penny? No mint mark at all. Some believe it was a clerical oversight or just a fluke of the production process. Regardless, the fact that this penny doesn't have the mint mark makes it a bit rarer than its counterparts. And when it's rare, guess what? The value goes up. You might be wondering, why is this penny worth more than just a few cents? I mean, it's still copper, right? And yes, it's still copper, but the lack of a mint mark means there are fewer of these pennies in circulation. Less supply, more demand, it's basic economics, my friend. Right now, this little penny could fetch you about $1.10. That doesn't sound like much, but trust me, it's more than a regular 1967 penny worth only 1 cent. And let's not forget, some collectors are willing to pay even more if the coin is in excellent condition, like a high-grade or proof version. I mean, come on, who doesn't love making a little cash from coins that are just sitting around? But here's the thing, folks, not every 1967 penny is worth $1.10. Oh no, you've gotta know what to look for. Let's get into the nitty-gritty here. To make sure you've got a valuable 1967 no mint mark penny, you're gonna want to check a few things. First, examine the coin's condition. A penny that's been through the ringer, a little too many trips through the washing machine, won't be worth as much. If it's in decent shape, like this one here, you're looking at a coin that could stand the test of time and fetch a nice little price. Second, check the date. Sometimes, people mistakenly call a penny from 1967 the rare penny, but if it has a mint mark, whether it's D or S, you've got a regular coin on your hands. Remember, it's only the 1967 NO mint mark that's special. Now, I gotta be honest with you. A penny worth $1.10 might not seem like a life-changing amount of money, but let me tell you about a time I found a coin in my change jar that turned out to be worth way more than I expected. So, a few years ago, I was cleaning out my old change jar. You know, the one where you toss all those random coins you find in your pockets and forget about. Anyway, I'm going through it, sorting out the nickels and dimes, and I come across this old penny. It looked pretty worn, but I noticed it was from 1955. I figured, why not, maybe it's worth something. So I did a little research, and boom, turns out I had found a rare 1955 double die obverse penny, worth hundreds of dollars. Talk about a lucky find. Of course, it wasn't as rare as the 1967 no mint mark penny, but it taught me a valuable lesson. You never know when that piece of pocket change is going to surprise you with big value. So, always keep an eye out for these little gems. And hey, let's be real. We've all tossed coins aside thinking they were worthless, but that mindset can leave money on the table. Who knows, maybe your 1967 penny is just waiting to make you a cool $1.10. Or, if you find one in better condition, it could be worth even more. Seriously, check your change before you just toss it in the jar or spend it. Alright, folks, so there you have it. The 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is a little treasure hiding in your spare change. But don't forget, just because you've got a 1967 penny, it doesn't mean it's a windfall. Condition matters, and the lack of a mint mark is key. So, go ahead, grab your pennies, take a closer look, and maybe you'll find yourself holding onto something that's worth a little extra. If you enjoyed this little coin treasure hunt, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got more tips and tricks coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss out on more hidden gems like this one. Alright, coin collectors, listen up. Do you have a 1982 penny stashed away in your jar of loose change? Maybe you tossed it aside thinking it's just another dime a dozen coin. Well, hold the phone because that penny might actually be worth way more than you think. I'm talking about the 1982 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Is it a hidden treasure or just a regular old coin? Well, today we're diving deep into the mystery of this little copper gem. And if you've got one in your collection, you might just be sitting on something pretty valuable. So, let's get into it. First things first, the 1982 penny. A lot of people think of pennies as being worth, well, a penny. It's right there in the name, right? But here's the thing, the 1982 penny is anything but ordinary. It's actually a fascinating little piece of US history. And here's where things get interesting. In 1982, the US Mint made some major changes to the penny's design. The big change. The switch from copper to a zinc core, and they also tweaked the weight and size of the coin. Some pennies were made with a zinc core, while others were still made with copper. But here's the kicker, some of the 1982 pennies were minted without a mint mark at all. And if you've got one of those, you might be sitting on a nice little chunk of change. So let's talk about why a 1982 penny without a mint mark is so important. Alright, here's the deal, the 1982 no mint mark penny, which means it was produced in Philadelphia, is a pretty rare find. In fact, it's estimated that only a few thousand of these pennies made it into circulation. And depending on its condition, some of these pennies can be worth a lot more than a penny. We're talking about a coin that could fetch anywhere between $1.20 and even more if it's in mint condition. Now, I'm not saying you should go full-on Sherlock Holmes on your change jar, but it's definitely worth a second look. If it looks a little rough around the edges, don't get discouraged. You don't need a perfect coin to make a profit. Even a slightly worn 1982 no mint mark penny can bring in some decent cash. Here's how the value breaks down depending on condition. A 1982 no mint mark penny in poor condition might go for around $1.20, but one in uncirculated or mint condition could be worth a lot more, like $10, $15, or even higher. This is where collectors get excited because not every 1982 penny has that rare combination of features. And hey, I know what you're thinking. $1.20. That doesn't sound like a fortune. But it adds up. And let me tell you, it's those small wins that help build your collection. Think about it, if you find a few more rare pennies, you could end up with a nice little stash. Plus, you'll be the coolest coin collector in the neighborhood. And as they say in the coin world, it's not just the value of the coin, it's the hunt, the thrill, and that moment of glory when you find the one that's worth more than you expected. Or something like that. I've heard it on a coin podcast once. No joke. Seriously, though, when you find a rare coin, it feels like you've just found buried treasure. And you can bet your bottom dollar, or, well, your penny, that if you're looking to get into coin collecting, this 1982 no mint mark penny is one to keep an eye out for. You never know when it'll pop up. I remember the first time I found a rare coin. It wasn't a penny, it was an old nickel. It was just sitting in a pile of loose change in my car. I thought, well, this is cool, it's got some age to it. Then I looked it up online, and it turned out it was worth way more than I thought. It was like winning the coin lottery. And guess what? I didn't even know what I had until I took the time to check it out. So here's the takeaway: don't just let your loose change sit there. Take a moment to check it out. You never know when you've got a hidden treasure like that 1982 no mint mark penny. Alright, coin collectors, you've heard the scoop. Now, it's your turn. Take a good look at your change, and make sure you're not missing out on a potential jackpot. Whether it's a 1982 penny or any other coin that could be worth money, knowledge is key. And if you want to learn more about coins, find out what to look for, and maybe even get a few strategies to help you build that collection, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss out on tips, tricks, and stories about coin collecting. So, drop a like if you found this video helpful, and hit that bell so you never miss a video. And hey, if you find something cool, let me know in the comments. Until next time, keep hunting for those hidden treasures. Hold up. Stop what you're doing. Did you know that a penny, yeah, you heard me right, a penny, could actually be worth way more than just 1 cent? And not just any penny, I'm talking about the 1983 D Mintmark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, if you're like me, you probably have a jar somewhere filled with 1,000,000 of these little guys, and you're thinking, they're just pennies. What's the big deal? Well, my friends, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be looking at those pennies in your couch cushions a little differently. Stick around, I'm about to show you how this unassuming penny could be hiding some serious cash. No joke. So, grab a coffee, check your pockets, and let's dive in. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss out on more fun coin tips and value secrets coming your way. Alright, let's break this down. In 1983, the US Mint produced a bunch of pennies, around 7 billion of them, in fact. But here's the kicker: the 1983 D Mintmark penny stands out. You see, most of the 1983 pennies were made with a copper-plated zinc composition. However, there's a little twist that can make one of these pennies a real treasure. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, cool, but why is this 1983 D so special? Well, here's where it gets interesting. In 1983, there was a small, yet significant mintage error. Some of the pennies that were struck by the Denver Mint, with the D Mintmark, were accidentally made with a different metal composition. Instead of the usual copper-plated zinc, a few sneaky pennies were produced with pure copper. And guess what? Those copper pennies are rare, really rare. If you happen to have one of these, then my friend, you might just be holding on to something worth around $1.30, sometimes even more, depending on the condition. Not too shabby for a penny, huh? But here's the thing: these rare pennies aren't hanging out just anywhere. You're not going to find them in the penny jar at your local coffee shop or tossed around in the parking lot like normal change. These little guys are harder to find than a needle in a haystack. So, if you're lucky enough to have one, hold on to it tight, because they're not exactly growing on trees. Let's talk value for a sec. The market value for a 1983 D copper penny can range, typically anywhere from a couple of bucks to over $10 if it's in near mint condition. But the really special ones, those that are in excellent shape, with clear minting details, they can fetch upwards of $1.30, sometimes even higher if they go through a coin auction. It's like a little, who knows, maybe I'm richer than I thought, moment. Now, I know what you're thinking, but wait, what if I have a bunch of pennies, and I don't know which one is worth more? Well, it's time to go full detective mode, baby. Grab a magnifying glass, check the mintmark, look for that little D on the front of Lincoln's chest, and make sure to inspect your pennies under some good light. Look for the copper ones, those are the ones that could have slipped through the cracks back in '83. If you find one, congratulations. You might just have a gold mine, well, a copper mine, but still, it's exciting, and if you're feeling unsure, don't hesitate to get it evaluated by a professional numismatist or head to an online auction platform like eBay to check out current listings. You'd be surprised at the things people are willing to pay for a rare coin. Sometimes, it's way more than you'd expect. And yes, I speak from experience. More on that in a second. I gotta tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was digging through some old change I had stashed away, stuff from my high school days when I thought I was going to be rich selling lemonade. Don't ask, it was a very ambitious idea. Anyway, I found a bunch of 1983 pennies, and I just tossed them into a jar, like anyone would. Fast forward to last year, I was feeling like I wanted to get into coin collecting, and I saw an article about the 1983 D copper penny. I started checking my stash, and sure enough, I found one that was copper.my heart raced. Seriously. I thought I'd hit the jackpot. I didn't get a ton of money for it, but it was a nice little payday, and more importantly, it made me feel like a coin expert. So moral of the story, check your change. You might not be sitting on a fortune, but you never know, this could be your big moment. And that's exactly why you should always take the time to go through your pennies. Because what if you find one of these rare 1983 D copper pennies? I mean, who doesn't love discovering money they didn't know they had? Alright, coin enthusiasts, that's a wrap on today's deep dive into the 1983 D Mintmark Abraham Lincoln penny. Whether you've got one or not, I hope you feel a little more excited to go through those loose pennies lying around your house or your car. It might be your lucky day. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up, because trust me, you don't want to miss out on more fun tips and tricks on coins that could be worth big bucks. Plus, I'll be back with even more info on how to find hidden gems in your change. Until next time, keep hunting for those treasures, and may your pockets always be full of valuable coins. See you in the next one. And remember, you might be richer than you think, you just gotta look down at your pennies. Outro music fades in with text on screen. Subscribe for more coin collecting tips. Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters. You ever pick up a penny and wonder if it's worth more than your lunch? Well, today we're talking about the elusive 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You know, that little guy that could be sitting in your pocket right now, quietly being way more valuable than you think. We're diving into the market value, the history, and how to spot this rare gem. But before we get into it, here's a quick question for you. Ever found a coin in your change and thought, this has got to be worth something? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to know your coin stories. Alright, let's get to it. So, you're looking at a 1984 penny, nothing special, right? Wrong. If this penny doesn't have a mint mark, it could actually be worth a whopping $1.40. Sounds crazy? Stick with me, because there's more to this story than just a coin in your pocket. Let's break this down. So, the 1984 penny typically comes with a mint mark right next to Lincoln's shoulder. You've seen it before, the little D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker, some 1984 pennies were struck without any mint mark. And, yes, you guessed it, this missing mint mark makes it super rare. You're probably thinking, okay, so a penny without a mint mark is rare, but is it actually worth anything? Well, my friends, it's not just rare, it's also highly desirable to collectors. While these coins are relatively easy to find in the wild, they don't pop up every day in your regular pocket change. The market for these bad boys has been fluctuating, but right now, a 1984 no mint mark penny can go for about $1.40, sometimes even more if it's in mint condition. Not bad for a coin that you can basically pick up off the ground. I remember this one time, I was digging through my change jar, no big deal, just looking for spare change to buy a coffee, you know. And boom, there it was, a 1984 penny with no mint mark. It wasn't in perfect condition, but it was like finding a forgotten treasure. I looked it up, and I couldn't believe it was worth over $1. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's just a penny, how much can it really be worth? But trust me, when you get into the world of coin collecting, you quickly realize that it's not just about face value. Some pennies, like this one, can fetch more than their weight in gold. Well, not exactly gold, but you get the idea. Winking face with tongue. So, why is this penny so valuable in the first place? Well, the 1984 no-mint mark penny was a result of a mix-up during the production process. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia didn't include the mint mark on some of the 1984 pennies, and it wasn't discovered until years later. Since then, coin collectors have been on the lookout for these mistakes that slipped through the cracks. And those mistakes are what make the coin so valuable. Basically, it's like that time you were running late for school and accidentally wore mismatched socks. Yeah, that mix-up is now worth more than all your regular socks put together. Weird, right? Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. How can you tell if your penny is a no-mint mark 1984? It's simple. Just check the area below Lincoln's shoulder. Normally, you'll find a D or S mint mark. But if it's missing, that's your clue it's a no-mint mark penny. See the difference? Now, if you've got one of these rare coins, make sure you keep it safe. Condition is key in determining its value. If it's in pristine shape, it's gonna be worth more, especially if it's well preserved and uncirculated. So, whether you've got a pocket full of pennies or just the change you've got lying around, it's worth taking a second look. That 1984 penny could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to discover its secret value. Imagine finding a little treasure in your everyday change. Money bag, and here's the kicker, this isn't just a one-time thing. There are plenty of other coins out there that might be worth more than you think. So if you're into collecting or just want to know more about coins that could be worth serious cash, make sure to hit that subscribe button, so you don't miss any of our tips on valuable coins and money-making strategies. Believe me, you don't want to miss out on discovering hidden gems in your own wallet. Alright, folks, imagine this, you're digging through that old jar of pennies you've got stashed in a drawer somewhere. You know, the one that's just waiting for the day you become a millionaire from all those hidden gems. You come across an old Abraham Lincoln penny from 1985. You take a second look, and, wait, there's no mint mark. No mint mark. Can this penny really be worth something? Is it just a dirty piece of copper, or have you just stumbled upon a treasure that'll make you the talk of the town? Let's find out. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and potential millionaires, well, not millionaires, but maybe a little richer than before. If you found yourself holding a 1985 penny with no mint mark, I've got news for you, you might just be sitting on a tiny bit of treasure. Let's break it down, what's the deal with this little coin, and is it really worth anything more than a few cents? Stick around and I'll explain everything in a way that'll make you laugh, learn, and, most importantly, make sure you're not tossing away any of your potential wealth. Okay, so let's start with the basics. If you're staring at a 1985 penny with no mint mark, let me tell you exactly what's going on. First off, mint marks, they're the tiny little letters you see on most US coins that tell you where the coin was made. If you look at your typical penny, you might see a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. But for the 1985 penny, if there's no mint mark at all, then that means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You see, in 1985, the US Mint produced two types of pennies. The standard pennies were made in Philadelphia, but because there were so many other pennies being minted in Denver and San Francisco, it wasn't all that rare to find a Philly-made penny without a mint mark. But, what if I told you there's a tiny chance, just tiny, that the lack of a mint mark could make it worth more than face value? Yeah, I know, you're thinking, okay, we're talking about a penny here. How much can it really be worth? Well, let me just hit you with the truth. In the world of rare coins, it's not always about being super rare, sometimes, it's about the story behind the coin, the condition it's in, and how many other people are hunting for one just like it. Now, back to the 1985 no mint mark penny. These things are, well, not that rare. They're worth just about a penny. Shocking, right? But, hold on. There's a little twist to this story. If you find that 1985 penny in excellent condition, uncirculated even, it could be worth a little more than face value. We're talking about a penny worth maybe $1.50. Now that's the kind of thing that'll make you say, hey, that's a nice little boost. I know, I know. You're probably thinking, $1.50. That's it? I get it. You were hoping for at least $10,000, right? But hey, at least you're making money instead of losing it. And remember, this doesn't mean that every 1985 penny without a mint mark is going to be worth that much, it depends on its condition. So, if you find one in mint condition, congratulations, you've hit the jackpot. Well, sort of. Let's talk about condition for a second. A coin's value is often tied to its state of preservation. If your 1985 penny looks like it's been through World War III, it's not going to fetch much more than a nickel. But, if it's shiny, crisp, and in great condition, that $1.50 suddenly doesn't look so bad. A little shine never hurt anyone, right? Speaking of condition, I had my own coin treasure hunt moment last year. I was going through a bunch of old change at my grandma's house, just casually looking for any rare coins. Suddenly, I pulled out a 1964 Kennedy $50, looked great, but not quite perfect. It had this nice shine to it, though, and I thought, hey, maybe this is worth something. I went online and found out that the value was around $10 for one in average condition, and even though mine wasn't perfect, it was still worth a lot more than what I had imagined. Moral of the story, never underestimate the value of good condition. Host, now, before you go running to the nearest coin store with all your 1985 pennies, let's remember a key fact. Most of them won't be worth that $1.50. In fact, many of them are just like any other penny. But keep an eye on the condition of what you have, especially if it's in perfect shape, and maybe, just maybe, it'll be worth a little extra. It's all about knowing what you're looking at. So, to sum it up, if you've got a 1985 penny without a mint mark, congratulations, you're part of the "I'm slightly richer than I thought" club. It's not worth tons of money, but hey, $1.50 is still a nice little return on that copper, am I right? And even if your penny doesn't end up in the mint condition Hall of Fame, it's still nice to know you're holding on to something that has a story. And if you've got a drawer full of old coins, maybe some that you've just been ignoring, don't toss them away just yet. You never know when you've got a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. So keep your eyes peeled, and who knows? Your next coin might just be worth a little more than you think. Alright, coin lovers, here's the deal. If you enjoyed learning about the 1985 no mint mark penny and want more tips, tricks, and treasure hunts on coins that could be worth more than you thought, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I promise we'll keep it fun, informative, and who knows? Maybe even throw in a few more hidden treasures for you to look out for. Catch you in the next video. And remember, keep those coins close and your magnifying glass closer. Hey, coin lovers! Have you ever found a penny, picked it up, and thought, it's just a penny, nothing special? Well, what if I told you that one tiny penny from 1987 could actually be worth more than you think? And no, I'm not talking about some rare mythical penny from heaven. This one's got a mint mark that could make it worth a solid $1.60. Now, I know you're probably thinking, hold up, a penny? Is this some kind of joke? Nope, not a joke. Stick around, because today we're diving into the world of the 1987 D. Lincoln penny and how it might just be hiding in your couch cushions, waiting to turn your pocket change into a small treasure trove. Alright, let's talk about it. The 1987 D. Lincoln penny is one of those coins that doesn't get a lot of love in the mainstream. You'll probably never see it on a list of top rare coins to look out for. But when you dig a little deeper into the coin collecting world, you'll realize that sometimes, it's not the obvious ones that pack the punch. First things first, let's talk about the D mint mark. You've probably noticed the tiny little letter D on the bottom of your penny, right? Well, that means it was made at the Denver Mint. But don't let that fool you. While most pennies from the 80s are pretty common and worth, you guessed it, a penny, some of the 1987 D coins stand out because of their quality, rarity, and the sheer fact that collectors love them. You see, most 1987 pennies are worth, well, not much. A regular penny is worth 1 cent, of course. But here's the kicker: uncirculated coins, or coins in mint condition, can be more valuable. You know, those shiny ones that look like they were just made yesterday, even though they're decades old. Collectors love these babies because they're in the best shape, and condition is key when it comes to coin values. Now, when you hear $1.60 for a penny, you're probably thinking it's a small fortune, right? Let's be real here. It's not going to retire you or pay for your vacation to Hawaii, but hey, it's still 160 times what you paid for it. Plus, if you're just collecting pennies as a hobby or starting to get into the coin game, every little bit adds up. Well, back in the day, the US Mint produced a huge number of these pennies, but not all of them made it to the public in pristine, uncirculated form. And with the magic of time, more of them get worn down, lost, or just tossed into the bottom of a jar somewhere. So finding one that is in excellent condition? That's the goldmine. Now, there's something you might want to know about this 1987 penny that could totally make or break your pocket change jackpot. It's all about the condition of the coin. If you find one that looks like it was minted just last week, don't let it slip through your fingers, check it out closely. If you've got an uncirculated one, congratulations. You might just have yourself a $1.60 gem. Let's take a quick detour here for a personal story. So, a while ago, I was at a garage sale, just minding my own business, when I came across a jar of old pennies. Nothing too special, right? Or so I thought. I picked up a few, put them in my pocket, and went on my way. Later, when I got home, I decided to look them over. And wouldn't you know it, I had one of those shiny 1987 pennies in mint condition. It was like a light bulb went off in my head. I immediately started Googling and learning about its value. Was I about to be rich? Probably not. But it was a nice little surprise. And hey, that $1.60 went a lot further than the dime I would have gotten for a regular, worn-out penny. So here's my point: you don't have to go out of your way to find something extraordinary. Sometimes, it's just about paying attention and doing a little digging to uncover the hidden gems right under your nose. So, let's recap. The 1987 Lincoln penny might not be the coin your grandma is talking about when she mentions her heirloom collection, but it's still worth checking your pocket change every once in a while. With an uncirculated one possibly reaching $1.60 or more, that's not too shabby for a coin you might find just lying around. If you're now wondering, how can I start finding more of these hidden gems? Well, I've got good news for you. I'll be dropping more coin tips and tricks in the future to help you uncover valuable coins that are just waiting to be discovered. So if you love finding coins worth money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on any of the coin collecting wisdom I've got coming your way. Did you hit the jackpot or just get a regular penny? Either way, let's share some stories. Catch you later, coin hunters. Alright folks, gather around because today, we're diving into the mysterious world of the 1989 penny, with no mint mark. You might think, oh, it's just another penny, what's the big deal? But hold on, my friend. You might want to rethink that shiny copper coin sitting at the bottom of your jar of loose change. Trust me, this little guy might be worth more than you think. And if you've got one, well, you could be holding on to a treasure. So, you know how we all have that one drawer full of useless change? Maybe it's that junk drawer we all love to ignore, or maybe it's tucked away in a jar you're too scared to open. Either way, at some point, you've probably come across a penny and thought, it's just a penny. Well, my friends, that just a penny might just be worth a lot more than you expected. And today, we're talking about the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny, one that is rocking the coin world like a 10-year-old trying to use TikTok for the first time. It's a classic, but it's also got a bit of mystery behind it. Now, before we dive into what makes the 1989 Lincoln penny so special, let's talk about this no mint mark thing. You see, mint marks are tiny little letters stamped onto the coin. They tell us where the coin was made, and there's usually a mint mark like a D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But here's the twist: in 1989, there were some pennies that came out of the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark at all. That's right. Zip. Nada. And this little quirk makes these pennies incredibly interesting in the world of coin collecting. You see, no mint mark usually indicates that the coin was struck in Philadelphia. But it's rare enough for collectors to get all excited, and when collectors get excited, the price can go up. In the case of this 1989 penny, depending on its condition, it can actually be worth up to $1.70, or more. Yeah, you heard that right, one penny could be worth $1.70. What could be more impressive than that? A pizza with an extra slice? No, my friends, it's your little coin, chillin' in that jar. And let me tell you a little personal story. When I was younger, back when I was a coin collector in training, I remember going through my dad's old coin collection. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think anything of those pennies. I mean, they were pennies. Pennies are pennies, right? Well, fast forward to a few years ago when I found one of those very same no mint mark pennies from 1989 tucked away in my old piggy bank. I almost threw it away, thinking it was just another penny. But something told me to double check. Turns out, that just another penny was worth more than I'd ever thought possible. I was like, whoa, Dad. I could have retired on these. So, now you're probably wondering, okay, cool, but how do I figure out if my 1989 penny is worth more than $1? Well, my friend, that's where things get interesting. The value of your 1989 no mint mark penny depends largely on its condition. In the coin world, we use a scale called grades to determine how much a coin is worth. From poor all the way to mint state, the higher the grade, the higher the value. A coin with no scratches, shiny surfaces, and clear, crisp details is worth way more than one that's been through the laundry a couple of times. Alright, so let's break this down real quick. A 1989 no mint mark penny in good condition could be worth around 50 cents. That's a little better than your average penny, but we're just getting started. If your penny is in very fine or extremely fine condition, meaning it's still got most of its shine and details, you're looking at something like $1 to $1.50. But here's the kicker: if you've got a mint state 1989 penny, one that looks practically new, you could be looking at $2 or more. Can you believe that? A penny that's more than just worthless, it's worth more than a Starbucks coffee. That's like finding gold in your couch cushions, except less sticky. But, here's the thing. The most important thing you want to do is keep it in great condition. If you're throwing your 1989 no mint mark penny into a jar with a bunch of other random coins, or, heaven forbid, using it to buy a pack of gum, you're definitely not helping its chances of making you any extra cash. The trick is to keep it in a safe, dry place. You can even get those little protective holders that collectors use to keep them in mint condition. And if you're still not sure whether or not you've got a winner on your hands, it's always a good idea to check with a professional coin grader or appraiser. You could be sitting on a hidden gem, and you'll never know if you don't take a close look. Alright, so here's the takeaway: your 1989 no mint mark penny could be worth anywhere from a couple of cents to around $1.70, depending on the condition. And, to be honest, it's kind of like finding buried treasure in your pocket. So next time you're rummaging through that jar of change, don't just toss those pennies. Give them a second glance. You never know, one might be the golden child of your collection. And if you want more tips, tricks, and strategies on how to find coins that are worth a lot more than their face value, hit that subscribe button. We've got tons of coin collecting tips coming your way, stuff that'll make you the expert in your friend group. Trust me, they'll be coming to you for advice. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your pockets always be full of valuable pennies. Hey, fellow coin lovers! Did you know there's a penny a 1992 one to be exact, that could make you some serious pocket change. No, I'm not talking about the ones your grandma gives you for birthdays, those probably aren't worth much, unless you're really into that whole nostalgia thing. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery of the 1992 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and let me tell you, this little guy has a twist that might just surprise you. This unassuming penny right here might look like just another standard issue from the 90s, but there's something special about it. Stick with me and I'll tell you why this little copper coin could be worth way more than your average, run-of-the-mill penny. Let's start with the basics. If you're like me, you've probably got a jar somewhere, maybe it's by the couch, in the car, or hidden deep in your desk drawer, just filled with loose change. Over the years, I've found everything from old quarters that lost their shine to pennies that I swear I remember spending in the early 2000s. But you know what? It wasn't until I took a closer look at some of those pennies that I found something truly cool, a 1992 penny, with no mint mark. Let me explain. Most pennies, especially those from the 90s, will have a mint mark on them. That little letter D for Denver or S for San Francisco can tell you where the coin was made. But here's the kicker, the 1992 penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Well, the Philadelphia Mint usually stamps coins with a mint mark, but for some reason, a small number of 1992 pennies slipped through the cracks without one. And let me tell you, that tiny little mistake has made them more sought after than a lost sock in the laundry. But here's the thing, it's not every 1992 penny. You've got to look for that one with no mint mark, and it's got to be in good condition. Which brings us to what you're really here for. How much is this bad boy worth? You're probably thinking, is this some sort of elaborate joke? But nope, this 1992 no-mint mark penny can be worth up to $1.80. Asterisk, yeah, you heard me right. A penny worth $1.80. Asterisk, and no, that's not some collector's fever dream. It's the real deal. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would anyone pay $1.80 for a penny? Well, it's all about rarity and condition. You see, not many of these went into circulation without the mint mark, so they're a bit harder to find. And the ones that are still in good shape, no scratches, no discoloration, are the ones that collectors are drooling over. The thing though, finding a 1992 penny without a mint mark is like hunting for buried treasure. It's not super common, so if you've got one, hold on to it. I'll tell you a little story from my own life to drive the point home. A while back, I was doing one of my usual coin hunts, because let's face it, we all have those random times when we dig through our change jars like it's an archaeological dig for ancient artifacts, right? Anyway, I was searching through a pile of pennies, half watching TV, and then, bam! There it was. A 1992 penny with no mint mark. I could hardly believe it. I'm over here like, is this really a thing? Did I just stumble upon a hidden gem? Is this what Indiana Jones feels like when he finds the Ark of the Covenant? I'm not saying I acted like a coin-hunting superhero, but let's just say there was some dramatic music playing in my head as I looked at that penny. Anyway, the point is, it wasn't easy to come by, and finding one like that really gives you an appreciation for why some coins are worth more than face value. This 1992 no-mint mark penny is a rare find. So, next time you're cleaning out your spare change, don't just toss those pennies aside. One could be the key to a small treasure. So, what does all this mean for you, my fellow coin enthusiasts? Well, if you've got a 1992 penny lying around, it's time to go treasure hunting. Check it out, does it have the mint mark? No mint mark. Good condition. Then you might be sitting on more than just spare change. And hey, even if you don't have one, you've got a heads up now for when you're out there doing your next coin hunt. Plus, with just a little bit of knowledge, you can start picking out the pennies that are worth more than a single cent. Like I always say, knowledge is connecting the dots, so, don't forget to hit that subscribe button right down there and join me on this coin collecting adventure. Who knows, the next treasure we find could be worth more than you think. And I'll make sure you know exactly what to look for. Happy hunting, everyone.